It's fair to say Xenon Racer on the Nintendo Switch has driven a bumpy road. A marketing disaster on launch, coupled with a port to the Switch that couldn't keep pace with the PlayStation, Xbox and PC versions, meant reviews generally were incredibly critical and the game was pretty much parked by gamers. But I'm here to say it's time to give this game a second chance. You want to know why? Well, stick around for my final review of Xenon Racer on the Nintendo Switch. But before I get to the review, I'd just like to say I do have an eShop copy of the game to give away, thanks to the guys at 3D Clouds and Soedesco. So please watch the rest of the review for more details on that a little bit later. Okay, so let's recap a very brief history of the game. Xenon Racer first appeared on the eShop early in 2019 with a late March release date and was accompanied on the listing page by a mightily impressive looking trailer. Sharp graphics and blistering fast gameplay made it very eye-catching indeed. Now, with the greatest respect, savvy gamers probably realised this wasn't footage from the Switch version, but more likely another console version or a high-spec PC. Now, the more casual gamer may have sat and looked at this with wide-eyed wonder and placed a pre-order, which is where all the problems were. A short while before launch, actual gameplay footage of the Switch version appeared, and to say it was chalk and cheese is putting it mildly. This led to a lot of outrage as this information was picked up by gaming media, and the video I personally made on the episode as well has more than twice the amount of views of anything else I've put out so far. Gamers who had pre-ordered the game were quick to vent their anger, and a few days after launch 3D Clouds posted a response promising patches to improve the game, and they also removed the high fidelity trailer from the eShop, although to be fair, the cynic in me would say at this point post launch it had served its purpose. Good to their word, 3D Clouds have been beavering away on these promised patches, and at this point I'd like to draw a line under the past. What's done is done, and my focus now will be on the game in its current state as of May 2019. I must stress though, if you have no access to the internet to patch your games, then you may want to exercise caution with this review, but I can't imagine that that's the case for most people, and I'm sure all your games are bang up to date, right? Now, with all that said, let's crack on. So Xenon Racer version 1.0.4, as it sits right now, is a futuristic arcade racing game set in the year 2030. Now, instead of going for hover-based vehicles like most futuristic games do, this game keeps all four wheels firmly on the ground, and the cars are all based on the semi-realistic versions of modern sports cars. The main draw here, especially on the Switch, is the career mode, where you work your way through different short series of races to unlock the next set. It's fairly basic racing game fodder, and despite some pretty horrific difficulty spikes at times, it's a decent and fairly lengthy campaign. Now, one thing this game doesn't lack is content, and alongside the career mode you have single player races, time trials, split screen multiplayer and also an online mode, although the latter is sparsely populated even at the best of times. It has to be said, 3D Clouds have also acknowledged this and are working on a solution to improve the amount of players online, although this does not involve any sort of cross-platform options. With that said, I have managed to grab a few games online and the game handled it fine with no signs of lag or buffering, and overall I was pretty happy with that experience. The racing itself is equal parts exhilarating and frustrating. Learning the track layout is pretty much essential as the game shifts at such a pace. You need to be taking the right line into corners to keep your momentum up, as crashing into the barriers will cost precious seconds and also deplete your energy. Now, if your energy bar drops below zero, you will be wrecked and spawn back on the track at a standstill, effectively ending your chance of a podium finish. To help you get around those tight corners, a drifting mechanic, similar in a lot of ways to Mario Kart, is employed, where tapping the accelerate button sees your back end swing out behind you, allowing you to hug the apexes a little tighter. Each of the vehicles in the game, which can be unlocked through completing various tasks in the career and multiplayer modes, have various statistics from acceleration and top speed to cornering and boost ability. Boosting is built up by drifting or alternatively driving over boost pads that are on the track. Be warned though, this boost cannot be turned off once activated, and you'll be locked into rocket powered speed for the duration of the burnout of that charge. It would have been nicer in a way to have finer control over the amount of boost you can deploy, as often you can only use it on the longest straights or the gentlest of curves. If you're playing solo, the 7 other AI racers range from dumb to Lewis Hamilton levels of ability. Generally, they play fair though and will drive with some intelligence, and most importantly, pretty much leave you alone for the most part. Well, that's pretty much what you get with Xenon Racing, a standard futuristic racing game with few bells or whistles, but a solid racing experience. Presentation wise is a mixed bag. I'll start with the good first, which is the music. Now I know music is subjective, but I love the soundtrack in this game. With its drum and bass jazz infused selection of tracks, really suits the futuristic vibe perfectly. Graphically though, Xenon Racer isn't really up to snuff. Resolution is way down across the board, and some tracks can look incredibly smudgy. Oddly though, it's one of those Switch games that looks nicer on handheld. But even so, it can be blurry and pixelated at times. Some tracks do look very nice. The Canada track is a personal favourite of mine, and the newly released free DLC featuring some snowbound tracks looks similarly eye-catching. But the cars in particular can look quite ugly with a lack of decent lighting and shadows adding to the issues. Now thankfully the frame rate is now solid. This game has a newly added option for performance or quality modes, and it's performance mode that shines here, offering a solid and near consistent 30 frames per second. Whilst a lot of people will bemoan the lack of a 60 frames per second option on the Switch, we have to accept these sacrifices, and to be honest, just having a stable frame rate locked at 30 is perfectly fine. It does allow for a bit of input lag, but personally I've never suffered with that too much, but your mileage may vary. So in summary, if you're looking to add to your racing library on the Switch, I would say consider giving Xenon Racer a second chance. It didn't review well on launch because of the terrible performance issues heaped on top of those retail mistakes, but it's a huge credit to the developers for sticking with it and wanting to continually improve the game to the point now where it's perfectly playable and there are some fun times to be had. The game does come at a premium price of £45 and $50, which does feel high for the quality level you're getting here, but shop around as physical copies are certainly available for less than half of what it's being asked for on the eShop, and I would say you'd be getting better value for money at that price point if you can find it. But why pay when you can have it for free? That's right, I have one copy of the North American eShop version of Xenon Racer to give away to you guys, and all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed, then like and comment below with your favourite racing game of all time, and I will draw a winner out in Monday's eShop preview video, which I drop every week. Now all that's left is my final score, and putting aside all the launch issues and taking the game on face value of how it performs today, I'm going to be giving Xenon Racer on the Nintendo Switch a really solid 7 out of 10. Well, thanks so much for watching. Remember to please subscribe if you like this video, and also remember to enter that competition to win a copy of the game for yourself, and best of luck to everyone that does. But until the next video, I will bid you farewell and catch you all later. Bye bye.